Good evening, everybody. Tiffany with Dragonflyer Studios here with you. I have been asked by, apparently a couple hundred people now, to do some flip throughs of my 100-day project books. Started this, I believe, our first day. Hold on, was. Oh, you know what? I didn't start putting the dates on them right away. Hey, look at that. Evolution. Our first day was February, let's see, 15, 14, 13, was February the 13th. And today, May the 23rd, let me check my watch, I think, yes. Today, May the 23rd, is the very last day of the project. So, the premise, if you're not familiar, is to find your creative thing, whatever your thing is. Some people made videos, some people danced, a lot of people painted. I chose to do this because I am a junk journaler, paper crafter at heart, and so I went with what I had. Now, the way I approached the project was I find myself trying to do things the right way the first time, and if I can't convince myself that I can do it the right way, I just won't try at all. So, oftentimes that stifles creativity. So my goal was to use this 100-day project to break out of the gotta do it the right way box. And let me tell you, some days it was hard. There are cards in here, that I can't stand. But if it glued wrong, if it was the wrong color, if it didn't look right, if I misspelled a word, if I whatever I considered to be the flaw, I left it. I glued it down and I moved on. And it has opened my eyes to the fact that, especially in junk journaling, there is no right or wrong. There is no perfect. It's just creating for the sake of creating, finding your happy place, relaxing, unwinding. I have tried some new techniques with some of this stuff, and when you try new stuff, not all of us start out as professionals. So, you gotta start somewhere and you learn. And I think along the way, I had forgotten how to do that. So, without further ado, I'm going to do some flip throughs. So, what my goal was, or my project for the 100 days, was I created a little inspirational card. They're about 3 inches by about 3.5 inches. And originally I was going to put them all in one book, but then it became very apparent, this is just 25 days. It became very apparent that not only did I not have big enough binder rings to accommodate 100 books, I mean, look how thick those would be. I don't have rings thick enough for that. Also, look how thick it is, all 100 cards all stacked together. I'm very proud of this collection, y'all have no idea. So, I broke them down into volumes of 25. So we've got volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the different books, the evolution of those came about as I was buying papers and whatnot. Like, this is scrapbook paper. That's text from a book and an old check. This is paper that I made. I dyed myself with a little embellishment glued onto it. And this is dollar store wrapping paper. So, if you're creating, junk journaling, what have you, use what's around you first. Yes, I do have a lot of little bits and baubles that have cost me some money, but I've been doing paper crafting for as long as I can remember in my adult life. Even when I was a kid, I used to make handmade decorations and stuff. So, thank you all for being here. I appreciate the request of doing a flip through. I had just posted pictures of these, but everybody wants to see what's inside, and so without further ado, let's see what's inside. I'll try not to take too long. So I'm gonna move my camera a little closer to my table. Bear with me. It's gonna get a little Blair Witch on you, a little shaky. Because these cards are kind of small now. Unfortunately, that's gonna, I think, create a bit of a shadow. There we go. So there, hopefully we can all see. So this is just Girl Scout cookies. I use their box remnants for my covers, front and back. And so yeah, I'm gonna flip through these. It will be real time. I'm not gonna do a time lapse, so you'll get to see each and every one, and I'll kind of talk about some of them. I thought this was appropriate. This is The Journey of 1,000 Miles Begins with a Single Step, by Lao Tzu. I think I say his name right. So yeah, and then I just started labeling them one, and then by about day 4 or 5, I was like, oh, I need to put the date on them. I also started out doing all my quotes by hand with hand lettering. And sometimes you start out with this idea. So this is a card that I don't particularly like how it turned out in the end, but I left it. And it's kind of grown on me. I like the yellow and the purple, but I'm just not a big fan. This is one of those where one of the words bleeds into the tree, and I wasn't too happy about that, but again, I left it. So yeah, feel the feeling, but don't become the emotion. Witness it, allow it, and release it. If the plan doesn't work, change the plan, but never the goal. And all of these are meant to be eventually turned into journaling cards. They do have the lines on the back. So this is one where I was really happy with the way the page turned out, but I think the text can be a little hard to read. It does translate well on the screen. Elizabeth Gilbert. Creativity is the birthright of every single human being. You have to learn how to follow your curiosity more than your fear. And that really spoke to me because the theme of this whole project, for me at least, was to get away from the fear that I was going to mess it up or I was going to make it wrong or do it wrong or whatever. This is some paper that I created with a stamp and playing around with some paints and some dyes. Okay, so here's one of my favorite cards. I decided to turn this one into a little pocket. So you've got the card itself, and then you've got the envelope that's on the card with a little dried piece of baby's breath on it. And then here is the card. I love the washi tape that's on here with the iridescent gold. But yeah, water your garden so your intentions blossom. And then that just slides back down into there. Alright, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, by Wayne Dyer. This, again, not one that I'm happy with. I don't like the way my lettering turned out. The pen that I was using was new. But that's what happens when you use new art supplies that you're unfamiliar with. But now I know. So the next time that I use that pen, it will turn out better, or at least at the very least different. I really like this one. There's 25 of these, so bear with me. Hopefully it won't take forever. Our reach should exceed our grasp. So these stickers that you see are made with a Sprocket printer. It prints in a 2x3 inch format. They come out already sticky on one side. It is photographic quality paper. As you can see, it's shiny there. I didn't do that. That's just how it prints. And so that's what I started using. I was like, oh, well, okay, we'll go with that. And I really liked the way that I could manipulate how they were laid out. This is a really favorite one of mine. This was before I purchased a sewing machine. I was doing all my stitching by hand. The stitching on my book here is done by hand. But I really like the way this one turned out. It was super cute. Here's another envelope pocket that I created. Also one of my favorite ones. So it says, "Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier," by Mother Teresa. This is also another favorite one of mine. It turned out really well. Oh, look, there's the back of the Girl Scout cookie box. So some of these, when I first started, I did not go in and always glue them to the journaling paper that I used as a template. This is one of the ones that I like. That's an authentic old milk bottle top that has been cut down. Here's another tag. And so this just kind of sticks out. And there's the tag that I made. And it just goes back in there. I was trying to get away from just the 2.5 by, or the 3 by 3.5 inch. Excuse me, goodness. Love is the most difficult thing in the world. Isn't that about right? I love the thistle in the background of this one. This looks like a pocket, but it is not. That is glued down. There we go. We got a little gear, a little bobble there. This one, I decided to go a little different, and so I turned it sideways. I gave it a little ribbon edge and wrote the quote in a different format. I like this one, yellow and the purple. And then I went this one. Every failure is a step to success. So that's my first 25 days. That is volume 1. These are for sale. If you are interested in purchasing them, either I will break them up. I will sell them in full volumes. I'll sell all 4 volumes. However you would like to do it is fine by me. But yeah, I would rather them be out in the world and be used in someone else's junk journal or given as a gift. And I will at your request cover this up so that it can be used for journaling space or whatnot in a junk journal. So on to volume 2. Volume 2 really got creative. Be driven by your dreams. I just found these quotes randomly from Facebook and things like that, and I just kind of ran with it. Faith in oneself is the best and safest courage, or course. I am a single parent, so I rely on myself to do a lot, and a lot of these quotes are about believing in yourself and using the talents that you have to get through life. Oh, here's another little pull tab. If you pull this one out, silence is a true friend who never betrays. And Confucius said that. So he just tucks away in there, and then you got a little tab that sticks out. Some of these are stuck together because I may have put them away before they were entirely dry. This was a good one for me for this book. It says nobody is really an expert. We are all still learning. And that's true. I try to learn something new every day. My mom instilled that in me, and I miss her dearly, but she raised a good one. She did a good job. I like this one. I got this came from the dollar store, and yeah. So there's lots of different things you can do. The challenge really was the size that I was working with. The 3 by 3.5. It doesn't give you much room to do a whole lot. So I used the space that I have and figured out different ways to tackle it so that I wasn't constantly repeating. Layering really gives you an option to break up that background and doing things. I created a little belly band here, so this little guy just pulls out, and he's kind of ratty, kind of rugged, but I love it. I love the way that came out, and then he just slips right back in there. And then this one is a card that also folds open. And I fully believe this. I love what I get to do. I work in transportation. I drive school buses. I'm also our routing coordinator. So I really genuinely love what I do. Even when some students are being not so nice, I love my job. I love what I get to do every single day. Matter whether you believe in luck or chance, the final decision is from yourself. These are just some gears and some brads that I put on. A friend of mine gave me these. They're brads. They're lock and key, so they just punch through the back. I really like those. That adds a little unique touch. This one's very vibrant. I don't normally work with reds and oranges and yellows. I'm a cooler artist with the purples and the blues and the green. Here's one of my handwritten ones. Walt Disney. Purple happens to be my favorite color, so you will see a lot of purple. Man succeeds because he believes he can, or he fails because he thinks he will. Oh, maybe. There we go. This is one of my favorite ones. I really like the oval, how it came out. This is also one of my favorites. I love the little butterfly detail that's on there. This has a little tassel attached to it. If you like baby blue, it turned out really cute. And then this one has a bit of a sewing motif on it. It's got some measurements and whatnot. This is an old recipe card that I found and used. Genuinely old. That's not a faux antiquing back there. There's volume 2. We're up to, as you can see, we're up to day 50 now. We were halfway through the challenge. And some days it was a challenge. Most of these cards only took me about 20 minutes to make, sometimes 30 minutes, but sometimes finding 20 or 30 minutes, this is one of my not so favorite ones, really. That's a personal thing. I love the quote because Carl Sagan and, we're like this, but I am not a fan of how these turned out. And you can like it if you like them. If you have a differencing of opinion, please let me know. If you think something else would work or whatnot. So this is just a little printout that I had from one of my stickers, and I just stapled me on some lace to give me a little pull tag. Oh, I was about to skip one. I really like this one, the yellow and the brown. Sophocles. I found some really good quotes. If nothing else, if these don't sell or whatever, I may turn them into a master board or something, and add them. I used an old oatmeal pack. There's Mr. Quaker. Hey, sometimes you gotta go with what you got. This was some watercolor paper that I was playing around to see what different inks and stuff did. This is the pink that you see is a patch to a pair of like denim that you could put over something. This is one of my favorites. I really like the black and white with the red accents. Every artist dips his brush in his own soul and paints his own nature into his pictures. I could not agree with that more. I have been an artist all of my life. I used to draw with my mom when I was younger. My mom could draw. My Aunt Linda could draw. I come by it quite naturally. So this one was one of those ones where I screwed up. I forgot about my template holes. And when I created my pocket, I created it all the way across the card. And
Excuse me, there is a message for you.
Oh no, I hope you didn't hear that. As a result, my card is also part of the book. So you won't lose it, but it kind of has to be lined up just so that it will go back in where it belongs. And then that's, that you live and you learn, right? I really like how this one came out. This is part of a packaging from some stickers that I got from Shane. This is another piece of denim patch used as a little tab there. Also green. I love the way that this one came out. This is also one of my favorites. I really found out that I really liked the layering technique that brought out, with the small space that brought out the visual. Not a huge fan of this one, but it is pretty in its own right. And I say I'm not a fan. I'm very proud of my work. But there's just, when I look at them and I see them, I'm like, would have done that differently, or could have done that differently. This one was fun to do. Okay, so here's another little tag that you pull out, and they kind of correspond with their color themes and whatnot. But there's that one, and it has just a little bobble on the top of it. There's that one. I really like this one. I want to thank everybody who asked me to do the flip through. All of my current subscribers, I'm so glad you guys are here and watching what I do. So oftentimes most artists will sit in their studios and we create only for ourselves. Now, while this is definitely a creation for myself, I'm so glad that you guys are part of the process and here to see what it is that I do. It makes it much more enjoyable, both for me and for you. All right, there's volume 3. Last but not least, volume 4. We're down to the last 25. So I like how the background of this one turned out. I don't know about this leaf, but you live and you learn. I did learn a lot from this. I learned some new techniques. I learned some new ways to do things. I did get to use up some things that I might not otherwise use in my day-to-day journaling, like this little guy right here. A friend of mine gave me this punch, and so this just pulls out from behind it. It says, remember always that you not only have the right to be an individual, you have an obligation to be one. Eleanor Roosevelt. I do love a lot of quotes from Eleanor Roosevelt. She's very empowering, not only to the female population, but the population in general. So this was very simple. I really wanted to make it look more like an invitation that you might get. Oh, you can't read the quote because of the glare. It says, problems are not stop signs, they are guidelines. And then I just gave it a little fun little tassel to hang off out of the side. Like I said, I really, really, really love purple, so forgive me for all the purple, but you create with what you love. I may find a different way to bind these. The binder clips, or the binding rings, were just the easiest things to use. The background on this one is some tie-dyed failure gauze, but it turned out pretty. It didn't turn out how I had intended, but beauty nonetheless. These are snaps meant to be, I guess, turned into buttons or whatnot. I just punched them through there and left them. I found them at I think a yard sale or an estate sale somewhere. So I really like this one, the floral background with the browns. Also one of my favorites. I was feeling some circles this day. I don't know why. Went to town with my punches on some scrap paper that I had, and I just ran with it. Little Van Gogh for you. I pulled the colors off of the paper for my accent pieces. That is faux rice paper made out of a napkin. I have another video posted, please, if you're interested in how to do that. It's a really simple technique, really interesting finished design using nothing more than napkins, just old cocktail napkins. I did one with an Arby's napkin the other day. I was feeling some yellow and a little bit of Buddha. I really like that quote. So these are my my candied tags that I make. I have a how-to video on how to make those. So they're really thick and heavily glossed using embossing powder. I like the way this one came out. For some reason this makes me feel like it's a giraffe. Not sure why. And this reminds me of something like this would be someone's business card. Like, here you go, how you do. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's the gray or the weird feathers. I don't know why. But it makes me feel very business cardy. This one I was trying something new. This was a new accent piece that I got my hand on. It's a whole roll of it. It's metal. I got it from the dollar store. $1.25 store, whatever you want to call it. So I just threw it on there. Here I was feeling I made a bunch of punches and wanted to use some of them. So I went to town. This looks more like blood than I had originally intended. When I got it all glued into place, I was like, oh, that looks really cool. And then the more that I looked at it, I was like, that looks like blood spatter. But, you know, whatever. This is one of my favorites. It's another belly band. You just pull it out, and there's your quote. It's very simple, very minimalistic. But sometimes that's all the time I had in the day was minimalistic. This one, not one of my most favorite ones. But it's cute. I do like it. I appreciate it for sure. And a little blue and brown number there. And then the last one of the whole project, card number 1, is from my very favorite artist, Pablo Picasso. I begin with an idea, and then it becomes something else. And that's kind of what I feel like my project became. I started out wanting to make just these inspirational cards, one a day for 100 days, mostly because life is hard. You know, we get down on ourselves, we get busy, we tend to have a tendency to neglect ourselves, and we don't self-care as much as we should. So that's what I wanted to do with this 100-day project, was really use it as a self-care, and try to teach myself to let some things go, both in my creativity process and also in my own head. You know, reading these cards and looking through quotes and stuff like that, I found a lot of inspiration, and there's a lot of love out in the world to be had if we're not quite so hard on ourselves. So again, this is Tiffany here at Dragonflyer Studios. You guys know that, otherwise you wouldn't be here. I just want to say thank you. If you're a new subscriber, or if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. Give me a like, give me a share, leave comments. I respond to all of my comments. I love answering you guys, and I am so appreciative that you are here with me. So thank you for watching, and until next time, bye.